When photographer Nathan Rivers notices a mysterious woman dining alone every night at 7:30 p.m., he becomes obsessed with uncovering her story. Olivia Martinez appears to have it all: designer clothes, expensive jewelry, and an air of untouchable elegance. But beneath her polished exterior lies a devastating secret that could destroy everything. A heart-wrenching story of secrets, sacrifice, and unexpected love that will leave you breathless. Let's dig in. The knife gleamed under the restaurant's warm lighting as Nathan Rivers watched it slice through tender salmon. Across the dining room, she sat at table 12, just as she had every night for 4 months. Same time, same table. Same haunting precision in every movement. Nathan pressed his back against the worn leather booth. Camera bag forgotten beside him as his fingers traced the rim of his coffee cup. The woman wore charcoal gray tonight, her blazer tailored to perfection, dark hair swept into an elegant knot that exposed the graceful curve of her neck. She never looked up, never acknowledged the world beyond her solitary meal. But Nathan saw everything his photographer's eye caught what others missed. The tremor in her hands when she thought no one was watching. The way her breath hitched when families with children entered Rosa's restaurant. The careful distance she maintained from everyone, as if proximity might shatter whatever fragile control she'd built around herself. She's beautiful, isn't she? Rosa Martinez appeared beside his table, silver hair escaping her bun, knowing smile creasing her weathered face. That's Olivia. Been coming here since spring. Nathan's pulse quickened at finally hearing her name. She always comes alone. Always. Rosa's voice dropped to a whisper. Never makes small talk. Tips generously but keeps to herself. Sometimes I catch her staring at the young families and there's such hunger in her eyes. It's like she's starving for something that has nothing to do with food. As if summoned by their conversation, Olivia glanced toward the window where Rosa grew. Her small garden, the evening light caught her face, and Nathan's breath caught in his throat. The sadness there was so raw, so devastating, that he had to look away. When he looked back, she was folding her cloth napkin with precise, practiced movements. Her fingers worked quickly, transforming the simple fabric into something delicate and intricate. A paper crane. She set it beside her plate like a small offering, then gathered her expensive handbag and stood. Nathan watched her walk toward the door, heels clicking against tile in a rhythm he'd memorized. She moved like someone accustomed to being watched, but determined not to care. Just before reaching the exit, she paused and glanced back at table 12, where the tiny origami crane sat abandoned. Rosa. Nathan called softly as the door chimed behind Olivia's departure. Right. What does she do? For work? Business, she said once. Something administrative, Rosa. Began clearing nearby tables. But her clothes, her jewelry, that woman has money? Nathan? Real money? The kind that usually comes with complications? Nathan stood and walked to table 12, drawn by something he couldn't name. The crane sat perfectly centered beside her empty wine glass, its wings folded with mathematical precision. He reached for it, and Rosa's hand caught his wrist. She makes one every night, Rosa said quietly. Always leaves it behind. I've been saving them. She led him to the kitchen, where dozens of tiny origami cranes hung from the ceiling on invisible threads. They turned slowly in the air conditioning's gentle breeze, a flock of paper birds trapped in perpetual flight. My God, Nathan whispered. How long has she been doing this? For months? 2 weeks? 3 days? Rosa's voice carried the weight of witnessed sorrow. Whatever that woman is running from, she's been running for a long time. Nathan stared. Up at the paper birds, each one a night of solitude, a moment of careful creation followed by deliberate abandonment. His chest tightened with recognition. He knew that kind of loneliness. It's a kind that carved hollow spaces in your ribs and made you build rituals around emptiness. Tomorrow night, he said, surprising himself with the conviction in his voice, I'm going to talk to her. Rosa studied his face with the sharp eyes of someone who'd spent decades reading people across restaurant tables. Be careful, Nathan. Some mysteries are better left unsolved. That woman is carrying something heavy, and heavy things have a way of crushing anyone who tries to help lift them. But Nathan was already imagining tomorrow's conversation. already planning how he might bridge the careful distance Olivia maintained. He didn't know then that some distances exist for good reason, or that the most beautiful mysteries often hide the most dangerous truths. The next evening arrived with the season's first storm, and with it the moment that would change both their lives forever. Rain hammered against Rosa's windows like bullets, each drop exploding against glass in a rhythm that matched Nathan's accelerating heartbeat. 7:30 came and went. No, Olivia. The restaurant felt hollow with only 3 other diners brave enough to face the storm. Nathan's untouched pasta grew cold as he watched the door, worry gnawing at his chest in ways that surprised him. Where was she? In 4 months, she'd never missed a night. The door burst open at 7:45, bringing with it a gust of freezing rain and the woman who'd occupied his thoughts for months. But this wasn't the composed, touchable Olivia from table 12. This woman stumbled through the doorway, soaked to the bone, her expensive raincoat useless against nature's fury. Her usually perfect hair hung in dark ribbons around her face. Mascara created shadow bruises beneath her eyes. For the first time since Nathan had been watching her, Olivia looked human, vulnerable, breakable. Rosa rushed over with towels, fussing like a concerned mother. Nathan rose from his booth without thinking, his body moving before his mind caught up. As Olivia made her way toward table 12, her heel caught on the wet tile. Careful. Nathan's hand caught her elbow, steadying her against his chest. She looked up at him, startled, and he saw her eyes up close for the first time. They were dark brown, almost black, framed by lashes still heavy with rain. But it was the depth of pain he saw there that knocked the air from his lungs. This woman was drowning, and she'd been doing it alone for a very long time. "I'm fine," she said, but her voice cracked on the words. "Thank you." Her hand rested against his shirt, small and cold through the wet fabric. Nathan felt her trembling and made a decision that would alter the course of both their lives. "Would you mind some company tonight?" he asked gently. "I hate eating alone in weather like this." Olivia hesitated, and Nathan watched an internal war play out across her features. The careful part of her that maintained distance warred with something deeper, something desperately lonely that recognized a kindred spirit. "I would like that," she said finally, and Nathan caught the note of relief in her cultured voice. They moved to table 12 together. Nathan helped her out of her soaked coat, noting the designer label and the way her hands shook as she lifted Rosa's offered tea to her lips. "Rough day?" he asked. "You could say that." Olivia managed a small smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Sometimes life feels like that storm outside. You think you're prepared for it, and then it hits harder than you expected." Nathan nodded, understanding flooding through him. "I'm Nathan, by the way. I run a photography studio a few blocks from here, Olivia." She extended a cold hand. "You for your kindness." There was something in the way she said it, as if kindness from strangers was a rare and precious gift in her world. They talked carefully at first, sharing surface details. Nathan learned that Olivia worked in business administration, though she remained frustratingly vague about specifics. She discovered that he'd left corporate photography to start his own studio, a risk that was still paying off slowly. But beneath the polite conversation, Nathan sensed deeper currents. The way Olivia chose her words was like someone accustomed to having them used against her. The graceful way she deflected personal questions while showing genuine interest in his struggles. "Do you have family in the city?" Nathan asked, during a comfortable pause. Olivia's expression shuddered. "It's complicated. Family can be both a blessing and a burden, depending on circumstances." Nathan recognized the pain in those carefully chosen words. "I understand. My parents divorced when I was 16. Sometimes the people who are supposed to love us unconditionally are the ones who hurt us most." Something shifted in Olivia's face then, a recognition of shared understanding that made her shoulders relax slightly. "Exactly," she said softly. "Sometimes creating your own peace is the only way to survive." When the rain finally stopped, neither seemed eager to end their first real conversation. Olivia had relaxed visibly, her professional mask slipping to reveal glimpses of genuine warmth and sharp intelligence. "Thank you for tonight," she said as they prepared to leave. "I'd forgotten how nice it is to share a meal with good company." "Same time tomorrow?" Nathan asked. hoping he wasn't overstepping. Olivia considered this for a long moment, and Nathan held his breath. "I'd like that," she said finally, as they walked toward the door. Nathan noticed Olivia leave something small on the table. He glanced back to see a delicate paper crane folded from her napkin with those same precise, practiced movements he'd observed from afar. "You forgot something?" he said, picking up the crane. Olivia looked back, a slight blush coloring her cheeks. "It's just a habit. I fold paper when I'm nervous or thinking deeply. You can throw it away." Instead, Nathan tucked the small crane carefully into his jacket pocket. "It's beautiful. You have skilled hands?" Something in his genuine appreciation seemed to touch her deeply. The mask slipped further, revealing a vulnerability that made Nathan's chest tight with protective instincts he didn't fully understand. "Thank you, Nathan, for everything." They parted ways outside the restaurant, and Nathan watched Olivia disappear into the night with purposeful steps, despite the late hour. He looked down at the paper crane in his hand, intricate and perfect, and realized this elegant woman with her sad eyes and expensive secrets had just become the most intriguing mystery of his life. But as he walked home through the storm's aftermath, Nathan couldn't shake the feeling that some mysteries were dangerous to solve. Rose's warning echoed in his mind, mixing with the memory of Olivia's trembling hands and the devastating loneliness he'd recognized in her dark eyes. Tomorrow couldn't come soon enough. Even as a voice in the back of his mind whispered that tomorrow might change everything in ways he wasn't prepared for. The camera felt heavy in Nathan's hands as he adjusted the lens, trying to capture the way morning light filtered through autumn maples in Riverside Park. After 5 consecutive evenings dining with Olivia, he'd found himself thinking about her even during his days off, analyzing every careful word she'd shared, every guarded smile. Their conversations had grown deeper each night, though she still maintained careful boundaries around her personal life like razor wire wrapped in silk. Nathan was positioning himself for a shot of the duck pond when familiar laughter caught his attention. Turned toward the playground and felt his world tilt sideways. There was Olivia, but not the composed woman from Rose's restaurant. This Olivia wore dark jeans and comfortable sneakers, her hair loose and catching the morning light like spilled ink. She was pushing a little girl on the swing set, her face transformed by genuine joy. The child couldn't have been more than 6, with Olivia's dark hair but bouncing in playful curls tied with bright purple ribbons. Her laughter rang out like bells as she pumped her small legs enthusiastically. "Higher, Mommy. I want to touch the clouds." Nathan stood frozen behind an oak tree, his camera forgotten. Olivia was a mother.
Ah.
The revelation hit him like a physical blow, not because it changed his feelings for her, but because it explained everything. The sadness in her eyes, her careful solitude at the restaurant, the way she watched other families with such devastating longing. "Hello." The little girl called out, having spotted him with the uncanny ability children possessed for noticing adults trying to be invisible. "Are you taking pictures of the trees? They're really pretty today." Olivia spun around immediately, her body tensing as she spotted Nathan. Their eyes met across the playground, and he saw a flash of panic cross her features before she composed herself with practiced ease. "Emma, come here, please," Olivia said, her voice gentle but firm. The little girl hopped off the swing and skipped over to her mother, then looked curiously at Nathan as he approached slowly, not wanting to frighten either of them. "Hi, Olivia. I'm sorry if I'm intruding." Nathan kept his voice soft, non-threatening. "Mommy, do you know him?" Emma asked, studying Nathan with the directness only children possessed. "This is Nathan," Olivia said carefully. "He's someone Mommy knows from the restaurant." Emma's face brightened. "The one with the good bread. Rosa makes the best cookies." "Do you like cookies, Nathan?" Despite the tension radiating from Olivia, Nathan smiled. "I love cookies, especially Rosa's chocolate chip ones. Those are my favorite too." Bounced on her toes. "Mommy, can we get cookies later?" "Well, see, sweetheart." Olivia's voice carried forced lightness, but Nathan could see the calculation behind her eyes. She was trying to figure out how much damage this encounter might cause. "I should go," Nathan said, recognizing her distress. "I was just taking some nature shots for my portfolio." "Wait." Olivia's hand touched his arm and he felt that same electric connection from the restaurant. "Emma, Would you like to play on the monkey bars for a few minutes? Stay where I can see you?" Emma nodded eagerly and ran toward the climbing structure. Olivia watched her daughter for a moment, then turned to Nathan with an expression that mixed resignation with something that looked like relief. "You have questions," she said simply. "I have questions," Nathan agreed. "But you don't owe me answers." Olivia studied his face, and Nathan could see her weighing options, calculating risks. "She's 6, she said finally. "Her father doesn't know she exists." The words hung between them like a confession. Nathan felt something shift inside his chest, a protective instinct that surprised him with its intensity. "That's his loss," he said quietly. Olivia's eyes widened slightly at his response. She'd clearly expected judgment, questions, demands for explanations. Instead, Nathan was looking at Emma with the same gentle attention he'd shown Olivia at the restaurant. "It's complicated," Olivia said, echoing her words from their dinner conversations. "The best things usually are." Nathan met her eyes. "She's beautiful, Olivia. She has your smile." Something cracked in Olivia's carefully maintained composure. For a moment, the mask slipped completely, and Nathan saw the fierce love and bone-deep terror that drove her every decision. "I can't let him find her," she whispered, so quietly Nathan almost missed it. "He's not a good man, Nathan. If he knew about Emma... .. She didn't finish the sentence, but Nathan heard the fear in her voice. This wasn't about child support or custody arrangements. This was about danger, Mommy. Look how high I can climb. Emma's voice carried across the playground, and Olivia's face immediately transformed back into that of a loving, encouraging mother. "I see you, baby. Be careful." Nathan watched the seamless transition, recognizing it now for what it was. Olivia wasn't just protecting her solitude at the restaurant. She was protecting her daughter from a threat Nathan was only beginning to understand. "The expensive clothes," he said slowly. "The careful routine. You're hiding." Olivia nodded, not meeting his eyes. "We've been hiding for 3 years. Ever since I found out I was pregnant and realized what kind of man I'd gotten involved with." "What kind of man?" Nathan asked, though he wasn't sure he wanted to know the answer. Olivia was quiet for so long Nathan thought she wouldn't respond. When she spoke, her voice was barely audible. "Kind who considers people property. Kind who doesn't let go of what he thinks belongs to him." Looked at Nathan then, and he saw fear so deep it had carved permanent shadows under her eyes. The kind who would use a child to control her mother? Nathan felt anger rise in his throat, hot and protective. "Where is he now?" "Prison," Olivia said, "but not for long. His lawyers are good and his family has money, real money, the kind that buys silence and erases inconvenient problems." The pieces clicked together in Nathan's mind like a puzzle he'd been unconsciously solving. The expensive clothes weren't about status. They were camouflage. The precise routine wasn't about comfort. It was about survival. The sadness in her eyes wasn't just loneliness. It was the exhaustion of someone who'd been running for years. "When does he get out?" Nathan asked. 6 months. Olivia's voice broke slightly, maybe less. Emma came running back, breathless and glowing from her playground adventures. "Mommy, I'm thirsty. Can we get hot chocolate?" "Of course, sweetheart." Olivia smoothed her daughter's wild curls with infinite tenderness. "Say goodbye to Nathan." Emma turned to him with the easy acceptance of childhood. "Bye, Nathan. Maybe I'll see you at Rosa's sometime. Mommy takes me there for special dinners. Sometimes." Nathan's heart broke a little at the casual way she mentioned it, not knowing her mother ate there alone every single night, building origami monuments to her isolation. "I'd like that very much," he told Emma, meaning it completely. As they walked away, Emma chattering about playground adventures and hot chocolate, Nathan called out softly, "Olivia." She turned back, one hand protectively on Emma's shoulder. "Tonight," Nathan said. "Same time, same table if you want." Olivia studied his face for a long moment, and Nathan could see her weighing the risk of letting him deeper into their carefully constructed world against the desperate human need for a connection that had brought her to Rosa's every night for months. "Same time," she said finally, and Nathan caught the ghost of a real smile before she turned away. But as Nathan watched them disappear into the crowd of weekend parkgoers, Rosa's warning echoed in his mind with new urgency. Heavy things have a way of crushing anyone who tries to help lift them. Now he understood just how heavy Olivia's burden truly was, and how much danger he might be walking into by caring about a woman whose past was hunting her with the relentless patience of money and power. 3 weeks after the park encounter, Nathan arrived at Rosa's to find table 12 empty, not just unoccupied but stripped bare, the familiar place setting gone. His chest tightened with immediate dread. "Rosa," he called out, perhaps too loudly. "Drawing stares from other diners? Where's Olivia?" Rosa emerged from the kitchen, her face grave. "She came by this afternoon, Nathan. Paid her tab for the next month and said she wouldn't be coming back." The words hit Nathan like physical blows. "Did she say why? Did something happen?" She looked scared. More scared than I've ever seen her. Rosa lowered her voice. "There was a man here yesterday asking questions about her. Well-dressed, expensive suit. Had that look about him, you know? The kind of money that doesn't take no for an answer." Nathan's blood turned to ice. "What did you tell him?" "Nothing. I don't talk about my customers."
Us?
Rosa's eyes flashed with protective anger. But he knew things, Nathan. Knew she came here every night at 7:30. Knew she always sat at table 12. Someone's been watching. Nathan's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Don't look for us. It's not safe anymore. Thank you for everything." Oh, his hands shook as he read the message. Without thinking, he was already moving toward the door. "Nathan? Wait." Rosa caught his arm. "She left this for you." It was a paper crane, but this one was different, instead of plain white napkin paper. It was folded from expensive stationery, with an address written in Olivia's careful handwriting. Nathan didn't hesitate. He drove through the city streets with reckless speed, the crane clutched in one hand like a talisman. The address led him to an upscale neighborhood he'd never entered, where houses sat behind iron gates and privacy hedges. He found Olivia's building, a converted mansion divided into luxury apartments. The doorman was stepping away for a smoke break when Nathan slipped inside, his photographer's instincts guiding him to blend into the shadows. He climbed to the 3rd floor and found apartment 3B. Through the thin walls, he could hear voices. Olivia's tight with controlled fear. A man's cultured and calm in a way that made Nathan's skin crawl. "You've been very difficult to find, Caroline." Caroline. Nathan pressed closer to the door, his heart hammering. "My name is Olivia Martinez now," she replied, her voice steady, despite the terror Nathan could hear underneath. "Legally changed. 3 years ago," the man laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Did you really think a new name would be enough? Do you think I wouldn't find you eventually? What do you want, Marcus?" Marcus. Nathan recognized the name from Olivia's careful revelations. Emma's father. The dangerous man she'd been running from. "I want what's mine." "You disappeared while carrying my child, Caroline. My lawyers tell me I have rights. You have no rights to her." Olivia's voice turned fierce, protective. "You signed away any claim to being a father the moment you put your hands on me. That was a misunderstanding. I was under stress, dealing with business complications. Surely you can forgive a momentary lapse in judgment." Nathan heard the sound of footsteps, someone moving closer. "Where is she, Carolyn? Where's my daughter?" "Bear, she's not here," Olivia said quickly. "She's safe somewhere. You'll never find her." "I already know about the school she attends. Riverside Elementary, very prestigious. Emma Martinez, age 6. Exceptional reading skills, according to her teacher, Mrs. Patterson." Nathan heard Olivia's sharp intake of breath, the sound of someone's world cracking apart. "You've been having me followed," she whispered, "for months. Did you enjoy your little romance with the photographer?" Nathan Rivers, struggling artist with a studio on 5th Street, divorced parents, no siblings, minimal social connections. "Very convenient that you chose someone so isolated." Nathan's blood froze. He'd been used. All those conversations, all that growing connection, it had been part of Olivia's cover somehow. "You don't understand," Olivia said desperately. "Nathan doesn't know anything. He's innocent in this." "Is he? Then why is he currently listening outside your door?" Nathan's heart stopped. Before he could move, The apartment door swung open, revealing a man in an expensive suit with cold blue eyes and a smile that never reached them. Marcus Blackwood looked exactly like the kind of man who considered people property. "Mr. Rivers," Marcus said pleasantly, "please, come in. We have so much to discuss." Nathan stepped into the apartment, his eyes immediately finding Olivia. She stood in the living room like a trapped animal, her face pale, but her chin raised defiantly. "Nathan, I'm sorry," she said quietly. "I never meant for you to get involved in this." "But he is involved now," Marcus interrupted, settling into an armchair like he owned the place. In fact, he's been quite helpful without knowing it. Following Olivia around, documenting her routines with that photographer's attention to detail, his presence at the restaurant made her feel safe, didn't it? Made her let her guard down? Nathan felt sick as understanding crashed over him. "Been using me to track her." Not directly, Marcus smiled. "But your predictable presence gave us a fixed point to work from. Amazing how creatures of habit become so easy to find once you identify their patterns." "Where's Emma?" Nathan asked. "Safe," Olivia said quickly, but Nathan caught the fear in her eyes. Marcus leaned forward, his pleasant expression turning predatory. "Here's what's going to happen. Caroline is coming home with me, where she belongs. Emma will join us once we've worked out the custody arrangements. And you, Mr. Rivers, are going to forget you ever met either of them." "Like hell," Nathan said. Marcus sighed theatrically. "I was hoping we could do this the civilized way. But if you insist on complications," he gestured, and two large men emerged from the kitchen. Nathan realized with growing horror that this wasn't a negotiation, it was a trap. "You see, Caroline, this is what happens when you try to build a new life," Marcus said conversationally. "Innocent people get hurt. Your photographer friend here could have a very unfortunate accident on his way home. Professional hazards of carrying expensive camera equipment in the wrong neighborhoods, you understand?" Olivia's composure finally cracked. "Please, Marcus. Nathan has nothing to do with this. Let him go, and I'll come with you. I won't fight the custody arrangements." "Olivia?" "No," Nathan said desperately. "It's the only way," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "Emma needs her mother alive more than she needs her free." Marcus smiled with genuine satisfaction. "You'd see reason eventually. You always were the smart one, Caroline. It's one of the things I've missed most about you." Nathan watched Olivia gather a small suitcase with mechanical precision, moving like someone in shock. She paused at a framed photo of Emma and tucked it carefully into her purse. "Where is Emma really?" Nathan asked quietly. "Rosa," as Olivia whispered so softly only he could hear. "Rosa knows what to do if I don't come back." As Marcus's men escorted them toward the door, Nathan caught Olivia's hand. She pressed something small and sharp into his palm. Another paper crane, but this one was folded from something that felt like metal. "The address inside," she breathed. "If something happens to me, promise me you'll take care of her." Nathan squeezed her hand, memorizing the feel of her fingers. "Nothing's going to happen to you. We're going to figure this out." But as they walked out of the apartment building into the cold night air, Nathan couldn't shake the feeling that he was watching Olivia disappear forever, sacrificing herself to protect a daughter who would grow up wondering why her mother never came home. Nathan sat in his car outside Marcus Blackwood's estate, the paper crane unfolded in his palm. Inside the metallic origami had been a flash drive and an address, along with 3 words written in Olivia's careful handwriting for Emma's future. The flash drive contained everything. Financial records showing Marcus's money laundering operation. Photos of bruises on Olivia's arms from 3 years ago. Medical records documenting Emma's paternity and Olivia's miscarriage of a second child after Marcus had beaten her. Most damning of all, recorded phone conversations where Marcus casually discussed eliminating business partners who'd become inconvenient. It was enough to put him away for life. But Nathan knew Olivia had never used it because doing so would have put Emma in the crosshairs of Marcus's powerful family. 3 days had passed since Marcus had taken Olivia. 3 days of Nathan calling every contact he had, researching the Blackwood family's connections, and slowly realizing that conventional help wouldn't come in time. The rich didn't go to prison unless someone forced their hand in Marcus's. Lawyers were already working to make both Olivia and her evidence disappear permanently. Nathan's phone rang. Rose's number. She came for Emma, Rosa said without preamble, her voice tight with fear. Marcus's sister? Had court papers? Temporary custody order? Legal as anything? Signed by a judge who probably owes the Blackwood? Family favors. Nathan closed his eyes, feeling the trap closing around them all. Where's Emma now? Safe house. I have friends who don't ask questions. Nathan? She's asking for her mother. What do I tell a 6-year-old about why the people who are supposed to protect her are the ones she needs protection from? Nathan looked up at the Blackwood estate, its windows glowing gold in the gathering dusk. Somewhere inside, Olivia was being held by a man who considered her property. He thought about Emma's laugh on the playground, about Olivia's fierce love, and desperate fear about the choice between safety and justice that no one should have to make. Tell Emma her mother is coming home tonight, Nathan said quietly. Nathan, what are you planning? Something stupid, he admitted, but it's the only way. Nathan hung up and made one final call to an investigative journalist who owed him a favor from a corporate scandal Nathan had photographed years earlier. I'm sending you a story that's going to destroy one of the wealthiest families in the state, Nathan said. Financial crimes, domestic violence, child endangerment, judicial corruption. Everything's documented. This is explosive material. Nathan, are you sure about your sources? I'm sure, but I need you to hold the story for exactly 2 hours and publish everything, simultaneously across every platform you can reach. What happens in 2 hours? Nathan stared at the estate's imposing gates. Either I walk out of there with Olivia, or I become part of the story. The Blackwood estate's security was impressive, but not impenetrable for someone who understood shadows and angles the way Nathan did. He'd spent years learning to be invisible behind a camera lens, and those skills translated surprisingly well to slipping past motion sensors and avoiding guard rotations. He found Olivia in what had once been a library, now converted into something that looked disturbingly like a prison cell with expensive furniture. She sat by the window, staring out at manicured gardens that might as well have been prison bars. Nathan. She turned, her face cycling through disbelief, hope, and terror. How did you get in here? It's not safe. Nowhere's safe anymore, Nathan said, crossing to her quickly. But I'm getting you out of here, Emma. Rosa has her. She's safe. Nathan pulled out his phone, showing Olivia the message he'd prepared. In 90 minutes, every major news outlet in the state is going to publish Marcus's financial records. It's the evidence of his abuse, everything on that flash drive. His family's money won't protect him once it's public. Olivia's eyes widened. Nathan, no. If you publish that story, his family will come after you, after Emma, after everyone we care about. These people don't just destroy careers, they destroy lives. They already destroyed your life, Nathan said fiercely. They took 3 years from you and Emma. They were going to take the rest. You don't understand what you're risking. I understand perfectly. Nathan cupped her face in his hands, memorizing every detail. I understand that some things are worth the risk. Emma deserves to grow up with her mother. You deserve to live without fear. Footsteps echoed in the hallway outside. Nathan pulled Olivia behind the heavy desk as the door opened. Caroline. Marcus's voice carried casual menace. I hope you're not planning anything foolish. A security team mentioned some unusual activity in the grounds. Nathan made a decision that would haunt him forever. He stepped out from behind the desk, placing himself between Marcus and Olivia. She's leaving with me, Nathan said simply. Marcus smiled, but his eyes were cold as winter. Mr. Rivers, I was hoping we wouldn't meet again under these circumstances. Let her go, Marcus. This doesn't have to end badly for everyone. But it does, Marcus said, pulling a small pistol from his jacket. See, Caroline and I have an understanding now. She's remembered her place in the natural order of things. Haven't you, darling? Nathan felt Olivia's hand on his back, steady despite everything. I've remembered a lot of things, Olivia said, her voice stronger than Nathan had ever heard. I've remembered what it feels like to be treated with kindness. Yes. I've remembered that some people believe in protecting others without asking for anything in return. I've remembered that I'm worth more than fear. Marcus's pleasant facade cracked slightly. You'll come to your senses eventually. They always do. No, Olivia said, stepping beside Nathan. I won't. The gunshot was impossibly loud in the confined space. Nathan felt the bullet tear through his shoulder, spinning him around as pain exploded across his chest. He hit the floor hard, his vision blurring as he heard Olivia scream. You see what happens when people interfere with my family? Marcus's voice seemed to come from very far away. Clean this up. Let's make it look like a break-in gone wrong. Nathan struggled to stay conscious as footsteps moved around the room. He heard Olivia pleading, her voice breaking with desperation. Please, Marcus. He's bleeding. He needs a hospital. He needs a mortician, Marcus replied coldly. Nathan's phone buzzed in his pocket. The journalist, right on schedule. In seconds, the story would break across every news platform in the state. Marcus Blackwood's world was about to collapse around him. Actually, Nathan whispered, forcing himself to speak through the pain. He needs to check his phone. Marcus frowned and pulled out his device. Nathan watched his face change as notification after notification flooded the screen. News alerts, social media mentions, his carefully constructed reputation crumbling in real time. What did you do? Marcus's voice turned deadly quiet. I told the truth, Nathan said. About all of it. The money laundering, the abuse, the judges. You bought everything. It's over, Marcus. Marcus raised the gun again, but the sound of sirens cut through the night air. Police cars, their lights painting the library walls in blue and red. Anonymous tip, Nathan managed to say. Funny how that works? The next few minutes passed in a blur of shouting voices, paramedics, and handcuffs clicking around Marcus's wrists. Nathan drifted in and out of consciousness, but he held on to the image of Olivia's face, tears streaming as she held his hand in the ambulance. 2 weeks later, Nathan sat in Rosa's restaurant, his arm still in a sling but healing well. The evening news played on the small television above the bar, showing Marcus Blackwood being led into federal court for his arraignment on 17 felony charges. The door chimed at exactly 7:30, and Olivia walked in with Emma bouncing beside her. At this time, they didn't head for table 12. They walked directly to Nathan's booth. Can we sit with you? Emma asked seriously. Mommy says you're the man who helped bring her home. I'd be honored, Nathan said, sliding over. To make room. As they settled in, Olivia reached across the table and placed something small in Nathan's palm. A paper crane, but this one was folded from bright yellow paper covered in Emma's crayon drawings. Emma made it for you, Olivia said softly. Wanted to thank you for keeping your promise. Nathan looked at the little girl who was already chattering to Rosa about cookies and hot chocolate, and then at Olivia, whose eyes held warmth instead of fear for the first time since he'd known her. What promise was that? He asked. To take care of her if something happened to me, Olivia whispered. You kept that promise, even when it meant risking everything. Nathan unfolded the crane carefully, revealing Emma's artwork underneath. Stick figures holding hands under a bright sun, with family written in uneven letters across the top. Some promises are worth keeping, Nathan said, meeting Olivia's eyes across the table. She smiled then, the first completely unguarded smile he'd ever seen from her, and Nathan knew that sometimes the most dangerous mysteries lead to the most beautiful truths. Sometimes the heaviest burdens become lighter when someone chooses to help you carry them. And sometimes when you're brave enough to step out of the shadows, you discover that the light was worth the risk all along. The end.